Some things were just meant to be. Example, this is the only level in speedrunning. It's the perfect game to speedrun due to its in-game timer and the fact that there is lots of memorization and practice needed. So, how fast can it be beaten? My name is Oliver Muirs, and join me as we take a look back at the history of speedrunning on This Is The Only Level. For purposes of this video, we are mainly going to be focusing on the any percent pauseless and glitchless category. Any percent pauseless glitchless means to beat the game as intended, to beat the game using no glitches and without pausing the in-game timer. The in-game timer is mostly used in any percent runs to achieve times as low as 10 seconds. Not literally 10 seconds, but 10 seconds in the in-game timer, as the in-game timer is the main timer. Anyway, enough chat, let's go on. The best place to start is at the very beginning. Speedruns for this game have been around for almost as long as the game itself. Here are some of the earliest runs that I could find. This was the first one I found. It was uploaded on December 17th, 2009. Quite an early one, but it's not the earliest one. Not a bad time either, coming in at 2:37. The next one was even better, coming in at 2:35,400. It was made on the 3rd of November 2009. Sure, it was even earlier than the last one, but still, it's not the earliest. The last one I'm going to be showing you is the earliest one I could find. It's probably the earliest recorded speedrun for this game. It may have been a little slower than the rest, coming in at 2:46, but it was made on the 8th of August 2009, a mere day after the game's initial release. Also consider that the person may have been practicing the day prior, meaning that this game was being ran from the moment it launched. I can't remember the exact date it was that I first started speedrunning this game, but I'd say it was around April 2017. When I first joined, the world record was tied with speedrunners DHA and K Ninjas both having the same time of 2:35,675. Technically speaking, the actual world record was the 2:35,400 time made back in November 2009. It was just never submitted because speedrun.com wasn't made until 4 years after the upload. After a good month or so of grinding, I was finally able to get the world record with a time of 2:35,650, only 0.025 seconds faster. This run stood for a few weeks before it was finally claimed back by DHA. What followed was a great number of runs being submitted by both me and DHA, eventually leading up to one amazing conclusion. In June 2017, DHA discovered that the 2-minute cycle was actually possible. He was the first person to achieve such a run. For those who don't know, on level 25, the exit door opens every 10 seconds. This is called a cycle. So, if you beat the level when the door opens on 2 minutes, this is the 2-minute cycle. Fairly self-explanatory. But getting a time like this is no easy task, and in order to get it, new methods of completing levels were needed. Fortunately, amidst all this, many new tricks were discovered to help beat certain levels faster. One of the most common of these tricks is a trick used to complete all the basic levels. Basic levels are levels in which to complete, you simply jump to the middle, press the button and head for the exit. Essentially a level which is the same as level 1. Here is the trick. You have to do that 11 times on levels 1, 2, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 28, 29 and 30. It's the quickest way to complete the basic levels. The trick itself isn't actually that hard, it just requires good timing. However, on the later levels, nerves can sometimes get the better of you, thus making this trick more difficult. Another great trick that was discovered was a faster way to complete all of the straight to pipe levels. Again, fairly self-explanatory, you just need to head straight for the exit pipe, no button press needed. Here is the trick. You can perform that trick 6 times on level 3, 15, 24, 25, 26 and 27. It is done by simply holding up and right prior to the level starting. In June, I found a quicker strategy for dealing with level 6. By pressing the jump button when the elephant gets to the top right corner, it will cause him to fall much faster, thus completing the level faster. Another trick that was discovered was a way that you can keep the door on level 15 always open, meaning you don't have to refresh the page every time. It is done by exiting to the main menu upon reaching level 15, duplicating the tab and then closing the old one. The door will always be open on that tab. Even with these new tricks and plenty of practice, there are always those levels that can trip you up. Despite level 8 being completed the same way as level 1 and so on, your jump must be perfect. If it is, you will know, because you will gain a tiny bit of height upon landing on the platform, which will cause you to go over the colour and not die. If you're off by a little bit and do not bounce, you will die. One of the worst Runkillers was level 13, Left Right March, where you have to mash the left and right arrow keys repeatedly. This tripped a lot of people up until a runner by the name of WGJC3107 found that if you hold the right arrow key down and only mash the left one, the elephant moves much faster. Here's a comparison showing the two methods. Notice how much faster the second one was. It was ultimately this trick which led to more people getting the 2-minute cycle. Level 16 was and still is a real pain in the arse. The quickest way of doing it is to land on the platform, hold right and keep pressing left so as to hit the button very quickly. However, it requires some careful timing, otherwise you may waste time or even worse, fall off the platform. Level 21 is perhaps the hardest level to run. What makes it hard is the gravity on this level, and that if you are over a colour you may fly up and hit a spike. Not to mention that this level is very close to level 25, so you may very well lose a 2-minute cycle run that you had. When I first started making this video a couple of months back, I sent an email to the creator of This Is The Only Level, John Cooney, and asked him if it was meant to be purely a speedrunning game. I'll read you his response. I said to him, "Hello John, I am making a documentary style video on speedrunning This Is The Only Level. I only want to ask you one thing. I get the impression that TITOL was kind of made for speedrunning due to its in-game timer and overall design. Is that the case?" He then replied with, "Yes, but there's 3 reasons for the timer and This Is The Only Level. But number 1, high scores and achievements. At the time, many websites were starting to get achievement systems and high scoreboards, so putting in necessary high score timers were important. Number 2, speedrunners. With many of my popular games, there are elite groups of players vying for the high scores. I kept finding that players wanted to see their current time instead of waiting until the end of the game to see if they got a high score or not. So I started putting the time prominent in most of my games so players could monitor their run. It also lent more credibility to those speedrunning and recording and uploading to YouTube. It's worth noting that these games were out at a time when Twitch and live streaming didn't exist. Number 3, pressure. I like putting artificial pressure on players when they're playing my games. Watching a timer in the corner of your eye is slightly menacing. I like players to be more reactive instead of sitting back and watching. I want them to explore the mechanics and keep moving through the game at a strong pace. As of the time of writing, the world record for any percent pauseless and glitchless is 224,675, done by yours truly. Will this time be beaten? Yes. New things are always being found in this Zona level and you never quite know what's around the corner. A runner by the name of Peter Petrico reckons that the best possible time is 224,300. Honestly, I'm doubtful as in our 375 milliseconds sounds like a lot, but you never know. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to apologise for this video not being out months ago as I was otherwise engaged. I'd like to thank everyone who has ran or continues to run this game. I'd like to thank Jumpy Love for verifying everyone's runs. And lastly, I'd like to thank John Cooney for creating such a great game. Good luck to all who decide to run this game in the future, and I hope this helps.